Financing decisions. Financing decisions involved identification of different sources of finance. It involves identification of various sources of finance and the quantum of finance to be raised from long-term and short-term sources. Let us check how they are raising, the business are raising long-term and short-term finance. If we are considering long-term sources of finance, what are the examples of long-term sources of finance? Like owner's fund and borrowed fund. These two are the long-term sources of finance which is used by the business, which can be used long period of time. That is why it is known as long-term finance. Okay, a firm can raise long-term finance either through shareholders funds or borrowed funds. The financial management as part of financing decision calculate the cost of capital and the financial risks for various options and then decide the proportion in which the funds will be raised from shareholders funds and borrowed funds. While taking financing decision, following points need to be considered. First one, while borrowed funds carry interest to be paid irrespective of whether or not a firm earns profit, but the shareholders funds do not carry any commitment of returns to be paid. Shareholders receive dividends when business earns profit. Borrowed funds have to be repaid at the end of a fixed period of time, and there is financial risk in case of default in payment, but shareholders funds are repayable only at the time of liquidation of business. The fixed cost paid on borrowed funds is business expense. It saves tax, leading to reduced cost of capital, whereas the dividends paid on shareholders fund is appropriation of profit, thus does not reduce tax liability of business. The fundraising exercise involves flotation cost, which must be considered while evaluating different sources. In order to raise capital with a controlled risk and minimum cost of capital, a firm must have a judicious mix of both the debt and equity. Therefore, cost of each type of finance is calculated before taking the financial decisions of how much funds to be raised from which source. This decision determines the overall cost of capital and the financial risk for the enterprise. Then what are the factors affecting the financial decision? From the above discussions, you must have realized that financing decisions are affected by various factors. Some of the important factors are cost. That is, cost of raising funds influence the financing decision. A prudent financial manager select the cheapest sources of finance. Next one is a risk. Each source of finance has a different degree of risk. Finance manager considers the degree of risk involved in each source of finance before taking financing decision. Flotation cost. Flotation cost is the cost of raising finance. A finance manager estimates the flotation cost of various sources and select the source with the least flotation cost. Therefore, higher the flotation cost, less attractive is the sources of finance. Then what is meant by flotation cost? It is the cost of raising fund. For example, underwriting, commission, brokerage, processing fee for loan, etc. Cash flow position of the business, level of fixed operating, control consideration, state of capital market is also few financial decision making